So this is going to be a comparison to owning a CB400, a bike, a roadster, naked roadster, built to live with on the road. In my review, oh jeez, you get used to the power so quickly on one of these. Better slow down, better slow down. It's too good when it's fast. It's so shit when it's slow. I'm going to go into more details of that soon. But this is a comparison of what is this like to live with versus my CB400. A lot of my fans from this channel followed me when I was riding a CB400. Some of you are new because I have this new Fireblade now, and you're probably interested in seeing, you know, if I'm going to be one of those dickheads fucking doing wheelies around every corner. Unfortunately I'm not. I'm all about the riding experience. Fireblade does deliver a good experience, and that experience definitely does get better as you go faster, but unfortunately that's not the kind of stuff I'll be promoting on my videos, or you'll be seeing much of. You might see me spank a few cars. What I've noticed is that owning a Fireblade is that there's so many cars, like, you know, modded up cars that want to fucking challenge you. You know, dumping the clutch and going bop bop, you know, fucking boy racers who are encouraging me to wind on the throttle because I've got a bike that looks like fucking Knight Rider's younger sister. I don't know. So yeah, basically the attitude around me has changed from the CB400. All the rude boys are eyeing it up. They're dropping the clutch. They're making the exhaust sing. They want a race. They want to test their acceleration versus my acceleration. And with a bike like this, I mean, you really have to put the effort in. Like, you have to hold on. It's trying to rip your arms off. And after a while, you just can't be bothered to race them, because all they're doing is sitting in their armchair, banging it into first, whereas I'm like fucking knackered holding on. And so I can't race everyone, unfortunately, but the attitude around me has changed. People did not do that around me when I had my CB400. And I guess I expect that a little bit. And yeah, I've spanked a few cars along the way. But anyway, let's put that aside. So that's one thing that I've noticed in comparison to these two bikes. The other thing is the heat. When I'm going slow, this bike is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And I'm just getting sweatier and sweatier and sweatier. That's because the engine is much bigger, much more powerful. Yeah. So in order to get that heat down, you have to go, well, not fast, but yeah, you have to go fast enough for the aerodynamics to filter all that airflow into the engine block, and instantly it will cool down. The engine cools down so quickly when you're doing a speed of sorts. Anything under 30 kilometers an hour, the bike stutters. The gears are just too tall, and it's got so much power it just lurches that first gear all the way forward if you let the clutch out. So doing slow speed stuff, you know, intersections, filtering, gridlocks, well, you know, gridlock intersections and filtering basically, and traffic, you're just constantly filtering the clutch, feathering the clutch to disconnect that power off of the transmission, because it's always trying to lurch you forward into the nearest object. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain to live with at slow speeds. In fact, it's a massive pain. One of the main reasons of getting a liter bike was to basically change gear less and have an easier life. of just having power on tap whenever I wanted it. But in actual fact, I'm changing gears less, but I'm feathering the clutch more, because Sydney's slow speed traffic and gridlocks and filtering, a lot of that kind of, or you know, you have to go 2 hours out of the city if you want to find an open road and not get that. So I got the quick shifter, right? And that helps, because after doing all that shitty slow feathering the clutch bullshit, I can just when I get a nice bit of open road, I can use the quick shifter, or I like to call it convenient shifter, to just manage the gears, and I can just get my hand off that clutch and have a bit of a rest from it all, you know. The seat, the suspension, surely this stuff is light years ahead of the CB400, but you wouldn't fucking know it. It just rattles my bones and fucking injects pain straight into my arse, but I guess it's just tuned for heavy braking and heavy acceleration. It's tuned in all those areas where it needs to be. So yeah, in terms of living with this bike, when it comes to the slow stuff, it's not very nice to live with. I know why sport bike riders speed, because the lighting is the steering is lighter, the throttle response is smoother, the engine is cooler, it's nicer to sit on. So I understand why liter bike riders are kind of always slightly over the limit, or a lot over the limit. It's because the bike's much happier going faster than it is going slower. Anyway, let's this guy go past. So yeah, it's surprising though how quickly you get used to this power. You know, I've had it for 3-4 days, and the power is already becoming more manageable for me in ways where, oh, hold on. Oh, let's turn it off. Yeah, the power's a lot more manageable for me now, getting used to it, time in the saddle. So there it is. I'm not sure if this is a good place to film this bike. Bet the lighting's shit, isn't it? Still got chicken strips, still got the hairs on the tyres, it's all new still. Yeah. So in terms of the slow speed stuff, CB400 absolutely destroys this. In terms of comfort, the CB400 absolutely destroys this. In terms of economy and practicality and fear of getting stolen, the CB400 absolutely destroyed this. However, ownership for this bike is yeah, factor one, not over 9,000. You know, there is not a bike I'd rather have over this, even though I have to put up with it and its bugbears. It's like I've completed the motorbike game, you know. It doesn't get better than this. I mean, sure, if this is the slowest liter bike, I'm happy. Fastest one. You know, if they're this miserable going this slow all the time, then I don't want the fastest one, because that one's going to be even unhappier going that slow, you know. This one is the lightest one though, and it's about as light as my CB400, so the weight difference in the pressure of the braking and doing the corners is actually okay for me. I've quite enjoyed it. The similarities in weight are very similar to the CB. Oh my goodness, look at that sun, fuck! Trying to find a good place. But yeah, it's like completing the game of motorbikes. Once you got something like this, you know, when you get to really enjoy it and really ride it, there's nothing that compares to owning one of these bad boys. There really isn't. And I've been waiting a long time to get my leg over on something like this, something special like this. It's got such a good colour scheme. I love the red and the black. It's fucking Knight Rider. So it hasn't even done 200 k's yet. So I need to be I basically need to be breaking in the engine, get it to its first service, which is 1000 k's. I've got a long way to go on that. And once I get there, I'm going to be doing the exhaust and fender eliminator. I've been riding it on power mode 1, which is the highest setting. I like that one best. I love the symmetrical lights. I love the way they fix that. Let's get out of here. Is there much else I can say about comparisons between this and the CB400? I mean, in many ways the CB400 is a better bike to live with. I think we all knew that. But just the sheer power and the sheer performance of this bike, once you get it up to speed and you get to crack open that throttle, the novelty of the power wears off quite quickly. You get used to it so fast, and then having a litre bike becomes normal. Anything less than a litre bike is like, oh my god, it's so slow. And I can fucking see why people would say that now, because on the first day I got this bike, I was thinking, why would anyone ever want more power? It's like day 3 and I already kind of understand why. You just get used to it so quickly. What a beautiful little bike.